This is called Mr. K from SinCityLiveRadio.com that I give free internationally across the world, which I do have millions of friends all over the world from, and I really love you all very much, and I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate you enjoying the music that I play for you out of my own pocket and everything else, because, you know, it's just something I love to do. But there's something I really have to do, and this has got to be done. My wife's been on YouTube quite frequently, and I think everyone needs to really know the reason why she's been doing this, because she's a very scorned woman, because I don't think she's ever had a man stick up for her before. My name is Ronald Kidwell. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'd prefer to call it the nasty cesspool of No-Hio, because that's really what it really is. And as you all know, I've been going through a law case for 3 years and 5 months. And my lawyer happened to get suspended on my last pretrial. And we barely got notified to even get in there for that, to learn civil law. 7 years of college civil law in 5 months. It's pretty hard to do for someone that lacks standing, according to the Common Pleas Court of Ohio, the county of Hamilton County in Cincinnati. I lack standing. If I lack so much standing, why do I have friends from all around the world, millions of people on a non-profit organization radio site that I do out of my own pocket and free to the world, and they write in a guest book compliments to me, and they write on this wall in this site compliments to me on how great my music is and things like that, and how they appreciate the advice I give them and things like that, because, you know, I've got brain damage, so they think I got brain damage, I can't think. Okay, well, that's not true. I just lack certain abilities others do, such as reading abilities. I'm a little bit dyslexic from a coma, so I ad-lib everything. So, on August the 10th of 2010, I was told I was lack standing in Cincinnati, Ohio, on this case that has been going on for 3 years and 5 months. That was May 24th, 2007. 2007, and I want you to understand that, okay? And a gentleman in Chambers of Court actually asked me what I wanted for my little time in jail overnight for what happened that day. Well, he had no idea, because he ignored everything that was sent to him until the motions were sent to him. See, civil law is like numbers. You got to do everything in order. And he said there was no way we could do this. Well, we're doing it. So anyway, to get to the heart of the matter, to really get to the heart of the matter, approximately 6 weeks before the incident that I'm getting ready to speak upon happened, there was a gentleman that lived in the back of the apartments that I look out for from the owner of my property. You know, I just kind of keep an eye out on everybody. And he was in the hospital and I heard people playing music in his apartment, and I went back there and I knocked on the door and asked if the gentleman that lived there was home, and said no. And I smelled drugs, and I've been around long enough to know what drugs are. And I said, well, as far as I know, he's in the hospital. Why are you here? He said, well, the gentleman that came to the door said, he said we could stay here. So I said, okay. And I came in and I called my landlord, and my landlord hurried up and called the gentleman that lived back there in the hospital, and called me immediately back and he said, no, you're not supposed to be there. So I went out there with an aluminum ball bat and kept 3 fugitives in an apartment, not able to get out. Okay, 2 of them got arrested, and 1 climbed out the window and got away. All right, and I was praised by the true police that protect and serve, okay, for having 2 felons put under arrest. And I cannot say what kind of drugs they were doing or anything, and I can't name any names or anything like that. And they shook my hand. I mean, they offered their hand to shake me. Well, a lot of people in the area have seen that. I'm drinking coffee, excuse me. And they went away, and the individual got out of hospital a couple days later, and really appreciated what I did, and my landlord come over and appreciated what I did. And I've been here 10 years. I've been living in this house for 10 years, watching over his land for him, because he lives 2.5 hours away from me. Excuse me. And really the heart of the matter is, on 3 weeks prior to June 24th, after that happened, a lot of people had seen that I had a ball bat and I had a little bit of guts behind me, and this is private property. And they remembered that. They couldn't believe I did that, because I'm just a little skinny engine, I'm just a little skinny guy. I'm tall, but I'm skinny. And this, I wouldn't call him a gentleman. I would call him an obtuse individual, to be quite frank with you, down the street, that did not even know me, which very few people on this road in 10 years even did know my name, because I stay to myself. I don't associate with them. It used to be a beautiful neighborhood, and it went downhill. It was like living over the tracks. Okay, you're like on the crossroads. One side's bad, one side's good. I've known people on the street that's lived here for 54 years. And I go up and I have coffee with them and sit on their porch, and they're older individuals, retired and things, and it's great. All right, but I lack standing, of course. Now we're going to get to the heart of the matter. 3 weeks prior to May 24th, 2007, there was a gentleman that yelled out my name and said, "Ron, why don't you leave for an hour so I can come up and fuck your wife in the ass again?" I had my back turned. My wife was sitting on our porch swing. I ignored it. I literally ignored it. Like it wasn't there. It was, a bird chirping, flying overhead. And this went on for 3 weeks. Finally, I think he got annoyed that I was annoying him, ignoring him, and not paying any attention to him. And he came right in front of my house on the sidewalk, which is considered public property. Okay, the sidewalk in front of anybody's house in a suburb is considered private property of the public. My house is private property. That land on that grass, well, then it would have been a different ball game, but he was on the sidewalk, so it was public property. Okay, do you understand what I'm exactly saying? Ignorance of the law is your own fault in the state that you live in. And the 3 weeks prior to that, he'd been doing exactly the same thing as I'm going to tell you he's doing right now. He was burying and pulling down his pants and shaking his butt naked at my wife, turning around, shaking his penis at my wife. This was 4 doors down. That went on for 3 weeks with name calling, which I never even returned a name to him at. So since I didn't, he came in front of my house and did the same thing. And he said, "Come on, Ron, leave your house so I can fuck your wife in the ass again. Go take a drive somewhere." And he dropped his drawers and first shanked his penis and his testicles at my wife. And then he bent over and bared his buttocks to her and played with his butt cheeks. I think he was enjoying himself, to tell you the truth. I think in the Bible it says that a man shall protect his wife at home. And in the Constitution of the United States, John Henry Hancock, for one, wrote in there, the Constitution of the United States is built on the Lord Jesus Christ. And in the Bible it tells me to protect my wife and my house above all others. All right? And that's what I do. Okay? Well, there was a hurry up after he did that and ran across the street where there was 30 other people playing, at least 20 to 30 other people playing basketball. That's why I do the Basketball Jones commercial on solemly.radio.com. Anyway, because there's a story behind every commercial I make. And he got in the middle of them and to try to mix with them. And actually the individual was a homeless individual. He was living from here to there. He really didn't have nowhere to go. And he's trying to fit in with everybody. And so he kept on yelling across the street after that, because we had the phone and we were calling 911. We were getting ready to. And I said, "No, put the phone down. It don't need to go into that. This young man really needs to know that he's wrong." Because there's a few people around here that know I'm a for real person, or I wouldn't have been here for that long. It was 7 years then, it's 10 years now. Because that's how long this has been waiting. Okay? And so I just sat there and I looked at him and listened to his mouth a little bit longer. Then he started throwing rocks at me, my wife, and at my house, which I have big windows, and I just had brand new windows put in by my landlord, you know, and I didn't want them broke. So I got a ball bat. They all knew I had this aluminum ball bat that I was praised about for keeping these felons into a gentleman's apartment and the apartments behind my house that I just basically watch over for my landlord. So they all knew this because they were so appalled that I kept them people there, and they got arrested earlier, like 2 months. So they all knew I had one. So he got in the middle of the crowd and he was throwing rocks, and he got on the sidewalk, and then he got in the middle of the street throwing rocks right at us. So I come